What's up guys, my name is Julie and this is the Curated Curvy, where I bring you along for the journey as I attempt to create the curated wardrobe of my dreams with these two hands. And today I have for you all what I made recently. So without further ado, let us get into it. Now, this isn't in any chronological order. This isn't over the past few months. I think the last what I made recently was in about April, and so I don't even think this is everything I've made between that time and now. These are just things that I've made recently that are not present on the channel. Cool? Cool. All right, so the first thing is this dress right here. This was supposed to be like my ode to summer dress. It is in this gorgeous like cherry print that I picked up at a local fabric shop, and when I got the fabric, I knew that I wanted something that was going to be fun and going to be frilly and just give me all of the summer feels, and this is what I came up with. This is actually a vintage wedding dress pattern from the 1980s. I have a mild infatuation with vintage prom wedding dress patterns. I like the style lines of them, and I feel like with a modern fabric they could be very much right now, and I feel so was the case with this dress. Now this dress is unique in that the neckline is a high neck and a v-neck at the same time, which, can we just take a moment to talk about how the details in vintage patterns are so missed and so needed these days. Like, it's kind of wild and it's kind of kooky, but it's different. It's something new, it's fresh, you know. I wish we'd see more freshness in our modern patterns, but that's another story for another day. So anyways, it has like this high v-neck at the same time, these giant puffy sleeves, and then the skirt is meant to be really long and really tiered. However, I didn't want that. I knew this was going to be a summer dress, so I just kind of like cut all of the tiers off at a mini dress length, and that is what we have here. It also has a zip down the back, and a lot of vintage patterns, some of them call for invisible zippers, some of them call for regular zippers. Usually if I can help it, I'll just insert a regular zipper, because personally speaking, I find that insertion more pleasurable than trying to put in an invisible zipper, and I also don't mind the way that it looks aesthetically. It tends not to bother me, so I went ahead and I inserted a regular zipper in this dress. Now with this dress, I purposely, even with the pattern, I think the pattern stops at a size 20, but it's a 20 in the 1980s, and while the measurements on the pattern are the same, ease is very different between then and now. And so I knew that even though my regular size present day is a size 18 for the most part, I knew that a size 18 would probably be a little tight, so I went up to a size 20, and then I took the seam allowance all the way down to 3/8 inch because I wanted a roomy dress. I didn't want it to fit snug and like snatched on my body. I'm not really into that this summer in particular. In the summers past, I have made dresses that were a lot more fitted to wear for like my everyday wear dresses, but right now, like I said, I'm just not feeling that. So I took a 3/8 inch seam allowance on all of the seams, and I am very happy I did. Now my only thing with this pattern, and it's a me thing, it's not a pattern thing, is that it does require fitting. So the way that this neckline is, I feel like it's not sitting as perfectly as it should on me. Like, it should kind of be more like that. It could be attributed to the fact that I gave myself extra wiggle room in the seam allowance, but that needs to be addressed. Also, the back of the neck is really gapy. Like, if I kind of hold myself like this, it sits nicely on my neck, but there's just a lot of excess fabric back here. And really the only way to remedy that is to properly go through the mock-up process, which I am usually too impatient to do. So this is what we got. Honestly, I don't hate it. I feel like it's funky and it's weird, but I dig it, you know? So this is the first thing that I wanted to show you. What is this pattern number? I feel like it's 1783. Okay, so the next dress is another Vogue 1783, and I say another because this is my third one yet. So I have the purple one that I made for my frogtails dress, I have a denim one that I made, and now I have this one. All of these dresses are insanely, not insanely, but very modified. None of them look like what the pattern envelope intended for the dress to look like. I will link the video and the blog post for you so that you can go back and you can see the modifications that I made and how I came up with the dress that I have. But like I said, I have changed the pattern a lot, and so this dress really doesn't look like it looks on the pattern envelope. This more gives pinafore vibes, and that is what I wanted it to be. I wanted it to essentially be like a sheer pinafore, something just very light and very floaty that I could wear like on these uber hot summer days. I imagine myself wearing this with like a cute little lacy bra and then like some denim mom jeans, which hopefully is how I style it for you when I do like my full body shots. But that's kind of what my vision was for this was. It would also be a great pool cover up, something to just throw over my bathing suit when I'm walking down to the pool. It's very light and it's very floaty. This fabric was actually gifted to me from the website. Oh gosh, I cringe when I say their name because I don't know if I'm saying it right, but I think it's Zelouf. It's Z-E-L-O-U-F. I will put it down there. They reached out to me on Instagram and they asked if I would be interested in purchasing some of their fabric and making something up with it, and I was really ecstatic and excited about the prospect of that, and this is what I got. So with this dress, the dress calls for a lining, however I did not line it. I went ahead and I just created like binding, and I finished the binding on the outside of the dress because I don't know, lately I've really been liking the way that that looks, especially if I use the same fabric of like the main body of the dress to create the binding. This binding was not cut on the bias and it still lays really nicely on the dress. I really didn't want to fiddle around with cutting something on the bias with this, so that was the case. It has a pretty low back, and on my denim version of this there is a tie across the back here. However, on this version I omitted the tie, and I also added a ruffle onto the bottom. It came out a little bit longer than I was hoping that it would, but all in all I'm pretty happy with it. I think when I made this, in my mind I wanted kind of like that hobo chic vibe, like that bohemian, you know, easy breezy layered look, and I don't know if I hit the nail on the head, but I definitely came close. This fabric is really, really gorgeous. It is a fabric that I've never worked with before. I don't know how to pronounce the name, so I'll put it up on the screen, but it's very similar to a chiffon. However, it has like a really crinkly texture to it, and the crinkles stay through pressing and everything. It was really easy to work with. I didn't need to starch it. It's not super slippery, very easy to work with, and I actually have maybe like 2 yards of it left, and so I'm kind of going back and forth about what I'm gonna do with those last 2 yards, but this is the dress. The next thing that I made and I did not finish is this Butterick play suit. When this pattern came out, I knew immediately that I wanted it. I think I saw it online first and I was like, yep, I'm getting that. I was absolutely obsessed with the play suit and I went ahead and I sewed it up. Now it is not finished because it's a wee bit snug on me. So I usually sew a size 18, but I'm not very well like versed in fitting the lower half of my body. Most of the dresses that I wear fit in flare dresses, and so when it comes down to like properly sizing and making alterations for like my buns and my thighs, it's just, I'm not there yet. So I sewed a size 20 for this and I didn't grade, and I have regrets. I wish I would have started on a size 18 on the top and then graded out to a 22 on the bottom, but I didn't do that. I did a straight up and down size 20, and it's a wee bit snug on me, a wee bit snug. I actually tried it on this morning and it's feeling a little better, and it's denim, so I know denim will grow a slight bit. If it's like, depending on the quality of the denim, it does have a tendency to grow when you when you wear it. But I just honestly, because I don't know, it wasn't fitting correctly, I didn't feel like finishing it at the moment. So the only thing left to do on this is the buttons and hemming the shorts. But I will say that this is a very, very good pattern to have. I think that it comes together so easily, and just based on the instructions alone, the insides are finished so nicely. Like, this wasn't me taking any effort or any extra care. It's just how the instructions flow and how you put together the dress that causes the inside to look just as nice as the outside. And I'm not really like a guts, like a beautiful guts type seamstress, you know. Some of the seamstress that I love most definitely are, but that's just not me personally. Like, give me a serger and we're good to go. But I have to say that looking at the inside of this, I was really pleased with how it came together. So I definitely, when Butterick goes on sale, I'm probably gonna get another one of these and do the proper grading. I am gonna finish this because I still think I'd be able to pull it off, but it's not a high priority for me because honestly, I don't know how it's gonna fit once those buttons go on. And so I guess when I have some downtime, I guess when I have some downtime, maybe I'll finish it then. But like I said, this pattern is phenomenal and it is definitely worth having. It's really easy, comes together pretty quickly, and is just a really, really beautiful make. Okay, the next pattern is this one. This is, I have it here. This is the Know Me 2016 pattern by Butterick, which I think I promised you all a full pattern review on, and I just haven't had time to do that yet. I did it in this vintage floral cotton that I picked up from a thrift store quite a while ago. I think maybe like last November at this point, and it's just been like sitting in my stash and I haven't known what to do with it. And when I was getting ready to go out of town for like a little mini weekend trip, I wanted something to wear to the airport that was long but still really pretty. And this is what I made. It was a relatively quick make. There is a lot of gathering in the skirt in particular, and the pieces are huge, but it was well worth it. And honestly, the gathers aren't as aggressive as I thought they were gonna be when I was putting the skirt together. I did change a few things about this. So the bodice on the original pattern calls for it to be fully lined. I didn't line it. I just finished it with a piece of bias binding and self fabric from the same fabric that I was using. I think I just said that. I think that's the only thing that I changed about the pattern, was just omitting the lining. And oh yeah, and also the neck piece is interfaced. I also didn't interface it because no, and I dropped the neckline a few inches because it sits pretty high and I don't have a long neck, so things that sit pretty high on me tend to just cut me off. I need a little bit of like openness, you know, for the full effect. So I ended up dropping the neckline quite a bit, and I think I know I didn't take up much of a hem on this, so this is actually pretty long on me, about ankle length, but I really like it like that. I thoroughly enjoy wearing this dress. I think the weekend that I took it, I was only gone for 3 days and I managed to wear this dress 3 times, believe it or not. And I do have plans to make another one of these and actually in this fabric right here. I just haven't gotten around to it yet, but this is Know Me 2016, and yeah, it's a pretty good one. It's a great dress. Oh, I also think that the pattern may call for an invisible zip in the back, and again, I just used a regular zipper. I don't know if you can see it because like I said, I just prefer to sew a regular zipper. I don't mind the way that it looks. It doesn't bother me at all, and so that's what I did. All right, this next one is a vintage Kwik Sew pattern. It's kind of like a long shift dress, and I changed a few things about this pattern, surprise, and I absolutely love it. It's not a silhouette that I would usually go for. Like I said, I like things to be more fit and flare, and this is very much just like straight up and down, but I don't hate it. I really do like it. I love how it came out. It is in this linen rayon that I picked up from Joann's, and I've had this fabric. I have this fabric in different colors and different garments. I have learned that this is probably my favorite linen blend from them, and probably the most like used by me, so I know that it's gonna wash and it's gonna wear beautifully. With this pattern, per usual, I eliminated the facing and I just bound the edges. I also scooped out the back and I added a tie, because I find that when you scoop out the back like this, if you don't have a tie, then this tends to fall off of the shoulders. So I went ahead and I added a tie, and same thing, I think this pattern comes with an armhole facing, which I actually really do like those, but I don't think I had the patience for it on this particular day. So I also finished the armholes with bias binding, and then it comes with side slits all the way down here. So I don't think I took the slits up much, but I did shorten the dress. The dress is meant to go down to about your ankles, and it hits me at about my like low calf. Really love this dress. I actually do plan on making another one because I think that I need to. And the only thing that I would change in the next one is that this back isn't wide enough. I want the scoop to be more dramatic, so I take it out more through here and just give me more of it, to just give me more of an open back feel. But other than that, I'm very happy with how this dress came out. I love wearing it, and like I said, I especially love this linen blend, just how it washes, how it wears, how it feels on the body. It is by far my favorite linen blend. Not my favorite dress, but I like the dress. All right, next, this dress is actually a pattern that is my creation. It's a self-drafted pattern, and this is not like a unique style of dress. There's actually a McCall's dress that is basically the same style of dress, which I will put up on the screen. But like I said, this was a self-drafted pattern. It is in this gorgeous chiffon print that I've had in my stash for literal years now. Like the first year that I took back up garment sewing, I purchased this fabric and I just hadn't known what to do with it. I don't like sewing with super shifty fabrics, and so it's just been sitting there. It is a sheer fabric, but it's not opaque as this one, but it still is a sheer fabric, and yeah, I really like it. This is another one where this was intended to be worn like poolside. There was like a girls' day event that I was going to, and it was gonna be poolside, and you're supposed to make a caftan, but I was really struggling with that. And like I said, I have this pattern, I've made this pattern. This pattern for me is a tried and true. It's usually a dress that I wear around my house, but I knew that I could sew it up pretty quickly, and so I went ahead and I did, and I really like it. This one actually doesn't need anything under it. Like, I think I could get away with just like a slip just to be safe, or like I said, throw it on as a pool cover up, but I'm really happy with it. One of the issues that I did have was I shortened the sleeves on it from the original pattern, and they're just a smidge too tight, and so they kind of like hug me right here. They don't sit as open, so this is one of the things that I probably will have to go back and address, but knowing me, there's a good chance that I won't. But if I do, if I ever feel like, yeah, I want to perfect this, these would need to be addressed. There's really not much to it. It's light and it's flowy, and I adore the fabric, and yeah, this was that dress. So another thing that I wanted to attempt this summer season was sewing a bathing suit, and I did, and I failed. Two things. Before I actually cut this out, or first and foremost, this is a stretch and sew pattern. I'll put the pattern number and everything up on the screen for you. Really simple looking pattern, really like it. I like the low bag. I like that the bottom of the bathing suit is a little more full coverage, so very ecstatic about it. The instructions are also really simple, so that wasn't an issue. The issue is literally just the experience with sewing the elastic and using the lycra fabric. I'm just not well versed in that area. So before I cut this out, I told myself, don't use the good fabric. I have a few different cuts of lycra in my stash, and I could have easily pulled out a lesser favorite lycra, but I didn't. I pulled out the good stuff, and I cut the good stuff, and I failed. It's interesting. It's interesting to say the least. The first thing is that I think this is too thin of a lycra. Like, I would like to self-line it so that it just gives a little more, like, you know, compression, I guess is the word I'm looking for. I don't like that I feel so like wobbly in it. I don't know if that makes sense, but in my mind that's what I'm thinking. Another thing is the elastic. So this is a stretch and sew pattern. It is a vintage pattern, and I don't know if swimwear elastic was as prominent in like the 70s and 80s as it is now, but I think that using a regular elastic was also a big fail for me. In the front it looks fine, but in the back it starts to get like really wonky. I've basically cut into a deep part of some of these. Like, some of these has a lot more room than not. It also, this part here juts out, so the back of your swimsuit should be flush against your back so that, like, you know, can't just stick your hand in there. But basically in the back of this, I can just kind of like stick my hand, or I can't stick my hand there, but someone could potentially stick their hand there, and I find that to be problematic. So this is definitely a fail, and it's so sad because this is the most beautiful print. I do have more of this. I have enough to try again, and I am definitely gonna try again. But please do, if you have some swimwear in the past, leave me some tips in the comments, because I really want to make a bathing suit successfully before the summer is over, and I have no idea what I'm doing. Is it plausible to double line this? Is swimwear elastic a necessity, or can I in fact use the regular elastic that I used this time and just focus on better application? I would really like to know. And also, if you have any tips on how to apply the elastic, that would be good too, because basically what I did was I serged the elastic onto the piece, and then I folded it over and I top stitched it down with just like a regular stitch, I think. Yeah, just a regular stitch. I was really going for it. I probably stretched it and sewed it if I used a regular stitch. Also, don't know if that's the right or the wrong method. So like I said, if you do in fact have any tips on how to sew with swimwear fabric, I would really like to know them in the comments below. And that's everything that I made recently. If you enjoy these What I Made videos, then go ahead and check out this video, and I shall see you next time. Bye.